Barnstable this morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live on the phone, I welcome our Director of Finance, Mark Milne. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
How are you today?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, Mark, we've got some good news, some interesting news. We talked the last time you were on the show. We talked a little bit about the upcoming bond sale, and that has gone through, and we've received some good ratings from Standard & Poor's. So, where should we start on all of this?
Well, let's start with the rating. As you probably know, or we talked about the last time, every time we do a bond sale, we have to have those bonds rated by a rating agency, and we use Standard & Poor's. So prior to the issuance of the bond last week, we met with Standard & Poor's, and they do a comprehensive review of our financial situation, and they assign a bond rating to that sale because the people putting bids on the bonds want a bond rating, so when they submit their bids, they have the confidence as to what that community's ability to repay that bond. So Standard & Poor's went through the process, rated the bonds. They gave a AAA rating to the bond issue that we issued last week, as well as they affirmed the AAA rating on all the town's general outstanding obligation bonds. So so it was a good report from Standard & Poor's. They had several areas that they contributed to. They attributed the AAA rating to. One of them being a strong economy in Barnstable, very strong management with strong financial policies, strong budgetary performance, very strong budgetary flexibility and liquidity. And also a very strong debt and contingent liability position and a strong institutional framework. So they look at all those categories, and we scored very well on every one.
Absolutely, and again, just a reaffirmation of the fine work that you and really the staff does to make sure that we are a solid financial institution here in Barnstable. Tell me a little bit, Mark, too, about this new SP1 Plus rating that we received. What is that all about?
Yeah, when we do a short-term borrowing. We have to have, they have a different rating system that they use for short-term borrowings. And we issued a bond anticipation note, and they assigned an SP1 Plus rating to the bond anticipation note, and that's the highest rating. That's like a AAA rating for a long-term issue, and that was specifically for the cost of installing the carbon filtration system for the Hyannis water system. We are borrowing the money to do that installation on a temporary basis until that matter is resolved with the county.
Absolutely. So, Mark, anything else about these ratings overall that you think is important for our viewers to be aware of?
Well, I think it's also important to understand that they have also assigned a stable outlook to the town of Barnstable, meaning that they believe over the next 2-year period, we will maintain the AAA rating, and there will be no significant changes to the town's financial condition. So, stable outlook is also a very good.
Absolutely. How do we, Mark, I'm not sure if you know off the top of your head, but how do we compare to other Massachusetts communities? How unique is it that we have these top ratings from an organization like Standard & Poor's?
Well, we're definitely in the upper group, or a limited group in Massachusetts. There's, I think, just under 30 communities in Massachusetts that now have a AAA rating, either with Moody's or Standard & Poor's. So we're in that upper group. And one of the reasons why there's almost 30 communities within Massachusetts with a AAA bond rating is that Standard & Poor's considers Massachusetts municipalities to have a strong institutional framework. And what that means is they have a revenue source, mainly the property tax revenue source. That's a very stable revenue source, which funds a majority of the operating costs for Massachusetts communities. Many communities in other states depend heavily upon more volatile revenue sources like sales tax and income taxes, and so their institutional framework isn't viewed as strong as those in Massachusetts. So Massachusetts, overall, the state of Massachusetts, as well as the communities underneath the state level of government, generally perform pretty well when it comes to the bond ratings, but there is a very small group as far as that we're included in that AAA rating.
Great. Well, congratulations again, and keep up the good work. Let's talk a little bit about the bond sale. Tell me a little bit about how this happened and what the results were.
Sure. We issued $16.6 million long-term municipal purpose loan last week, and we received 4 bids. Fidelity Capital Markets came in with the lowest bid. Their coupons ranged, coupons being the interest rate on the bonds over the 20-year span. It was a 20-year bond. We have multiple maturities in that bond, 5-year maturities, 10, 15, and 20-year maturities. And so the coupons on those bonds ranged from 2.1% to 4%. So the total interest cost on the bond issue was $4.7 million. However, they paid us a premium of almost $1.5 million. So we sold $16.6 million of bonds, but they're going to give us $18.1 million in cash.
Wow.
And the difference is what's called a premium. That a premium that you receive effectively reduces the interest cost that you incur on that bond. So the true interest cost on this bond is 2.1%.
Okay, so it's not like we're getting a windfall of an extra couple $1 million, but it's more kind of evening out the interest that we would pay over the years.
Yeah, and that's how the bidding industry works for when you sell a general purpose municipal bond. Every bidder will submit a premium along with their bid, which modifies the true interest cost on the bond. And it was a very close bid. Fidelity came in first with a 2.11 true interest cost on the bond. USB Financials was 2.13. Robert Baird and Company was 2.16, and J.P. Morgan Securities was 2.16.
So pretty close.
Very close. They always come in very close, and it's all tweaked. Those true interest cost numbers percentages are adjusted with that premium. So it all depends on the amount of premium that they're willing to offer, and so they all come within fractions of interest rates for each one. So this is a very good bond sale for the town. A 2.1% interest rate overall is the interest cost that we're going to incur on this issue. It's a little higher than the last 2 that we did, but that's generally a result of the change in the market. The rates in this market are going to go anywhere in one direction only, and that's it. They're not going to go down. We're not going to see. We're still in this historically low period for municipal bond issues, but they have no place to go but up.
Absolutely. And the market, I from what I hear, has been a little funky lately. But as you said in the past, municipal bonds are really one of those solid investments. That's always a good thing that folks look for. Correct?
Yeah. Well, they're stable. They're willing to buy these as investments because of they know that they're going to get their investment back, and so they're willing to pay. They're willing to receive less than interest for that stable security. Fantastic. As opposed to buying a stock.
Exactly, but you never know what's going to happen there.
No.
Mark, I thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on Barnstable this morning, and we will catch up with you again next week. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Mark Milne is our Director of Finance here in the town of Barnstable. Really so impressed with the work that Mark and the team does. Mark and Tom work so well together. Our whole finance department, and even more impressed with the